Hello everybody, my name is Michael Parker, the project manager, and our project is the restaurant locator application. My other group members are Veronica Bays, Johnny Devine, Anthony Salamuth, Benjamin Whitney, and Joanna Willis. So let's get started. Our project charter. So the purpose. So our purpose of our project is to create an application to locate restaurants near the user. We wanted to do like a small fee that cost around 99 cents, something that would still attract users to buy the app, but not too expensive to kind of run them away. So the project manager's authority and responsibility to oversee the successful completion of the project and to also lead the team. So I tried to, set everybody up with sections of the project that they could finish, and then we all compiled it, and we were all given roles and agreed on those roles. So the project goals and product functionality. So to develop an application that is user-friendly and useful to the user, and to also develop a quality application for the user. So we wanted to create a application that is very useful to the user, that they can use on a daily basis if need be, and that is a quality application. So nothing too confusing for them, but something that they're definitely going to get their $1 or 99-cent worth of an application. So that's kind of what we wanted to create. So the project charter continued. We have some assumptions and constraints. So the project could get behind on schedule, which is always a possibility, and we definitely saw that throughout our project. And insufficient testing time after the application is completed. So if we got behind schedule, we wouldn't have enough time to have proper testing for this application to work the bugs out, which is what we're going to get into now of the development part of it. So we conducted research before the actual development, and then afterwards we conducted rigorous testing to work, like I said earlier, to work out these bugs. Deployment and implementation. So after the application has been released, we're going to monitor the application and see if any more bugs come to the surface that we can possibly fix. Project scope. So this is something that I created. So almost everyone uses an iPhone or an Android in their everyday life. So we were trying to think of an application that would come in handy, especially for like a college student trying to find cool and new restaurants near them. So we have some characteristics and requirements. So compatible with iPhone and Android operating systems, which would be very nice. Mainly iPhone, but Android as well. Cost a small fee, like I mentioned earlier. Does not require a large amount of data usage because no one likes a ton of data usage, especially if they're on like a 1 gigabyte plan. And very user friendly. That's very important. I'm not going to go over all of this stuff just because it's in depth, but so we're going to go over like the deliverables. That's important. So application software, research reports, application hardware, and design documents. And our success criteria, which is project staying within budget, staying within schedule, adequate testing, and no major problems occurring. So if we can hit all 4 of those points, then we're golden. Work breakdown structure. So kept it pretty simple. You have initiation, planning, monitoring, and controlling, and closeout. So in the initiation stage of the work breakdown structure, we have the project charter. Under that, scope statement, develop a logo, which you saw in the very front of our presentation here. Communication, establish a communication plan and records meeting. The planning stage, so work breakdown structure, responsibility assignment matrix, project schedule, project budget, change management plan, risk issue management plan. All these have some subcategories that you'll see later on in this presentation. Monitor controlling, like I mentioned earlier, is just the testing and then fixing the bugs, and the closeout. So final project report, product acceptance closeout, and the lessons learned, which are definitely important because we learned a lot. So the project responsibility assignment matrix. So for the project manager, myself, made myself accountable for everything, but I was responsible for I guess about half of it. Everything else we kind of consulted on and agreed on. So this kind of just shows that everyone else had small responsibility and accountable parts, and they were just consulted for the most part, and we kind of just helped each other out. And then, of course, our sponsor, Dr. Richardson, is informed. Project schedule. I'm not going to read all of this, but this pretty much just is the semester going down, kind of listing everything out that we did and that's required. So here we have everyone's name and role that we kind of put into a timeline, make it easier to read than what was in the slide before. And then we have the actual product schedule, which is much more dense of actually creating this application. So I'm not going to read all this out either, but it pretty much just goes over all of the different deliverables and roles and jobs that everyone does and what it requires. And then the product schedule continued here. This is just the timeline of it, so it makes it easier to read. You can see that the dates on the top and how long it's going to take to finish this project, or excuse me, the product. So the project budget. So we've got supplies and salaries. So we kind of talked and figured out what we wanted our hourly wage and what we wanted the quantities and the hours and the total cost. So our total project cost ended up being $83,800, so it keeps us under budget, which is good for later on during the change management part of it in case we wanted to make some changes. So the change management plan, the purpose: to provide proper documentation of changes in the project, determine if the changes in the project can be accepted, and to notify all impacted parties of the initial and final change request disposition. Change control process: to change request entered when on schedule and budget, granted permission by the project manager, and logging all change requests. So yes, there is a process of actually getting these changes done. You have to submit a change request form. Project manager has to make sure it's good with the stakeholders, and then he can approve or disapprove the change. But all changes have to be logged. So assessing a change request. An approved change request is added to the project scope. So anything that's changed has to be added to the project scope, and that has to be changed. And then obviously it has to be good with the project budget and the project schedule. So this is one of our change request entry forms. This is pretty much just requesting to have extra features on our application to keep it up to date with different applications out there that are already finding restaurants. So we wanted to do this if we were under budget and within schedule. And this one we actually did approve since we were under budget and on schedule. As you see, I approved it. It's a total net change of $5,000 and an extra 100 hours of work. But we figured it'd be good since extra features are always nice, and still is user friendly, but it's still able to add more to the app that only costs 99 cents. So this is our change request table. This is where we added our actual approved change. We got a little bit of a description, recommendation, but do not go too in depth. Just keep it pretty simple, but add these helpful features to our project, or our application. And this was assigned to Joanna Willis, who is our business analyst. So some risk issue management plan. Purpose of the plan has been developed to provide a mechanism for identifying, documenting, escalating, and resolving issues that might come up. Facilitate through investigation and impact assessment of risks. Provide visibility into risk issue identification and resolution for all impacted parties, and provide an audit trail of risk issues and their history. So pretty much if any risks or issues come up, we have this plan in place to fix these problems. We kind of went through here. They're also going to be archived as well. So here's one of our risk issue assessment forms. We actually had 5 of these because we wanted to get all the risk and issues up to the surface so we don't have any surprises coming up later on. We dated them. So this one here, loss of business if customer chooses another app. That's why we added those extra features, so we could add more to our application instead of just being a generic application that no one wants, or no one wants to buy for 99 cents. So this was definitely a risk or an issue but hopefully it won't be in the future. So our risk issue table, so this is our 5 risks and issues. So we've got the descriptions, the recommendations, and what they're assigned to. I just kind of just list out everything that we could possibly think of that could go wrong, such as like poor display quality, GPS locations not working to find um, the restaurants near the user. So these are all definitely risks that could come up. So we just went ahead and listed them all out in our table. So communication management plan. So the purpose, the plan has been developed to ensure timely and appropriate generation, collection, dissemination, storage, and ultimate disposition of project information. So I'm not going to read through all of this, but pretty much we created a plan through text messaging, Google Drive, which I'm sure a lot of other teams have been using because it's very helpful, and email. So we probably used email the most, but it was more effective that way because everyone didn't have the application called GroupMe that some of you might know. So we listed everyone's email out, got contact with each other, and made a plan. So we're going to continue with this. So pretty much it's just list out exactly what I just said. You know what we use to communicate. The team members, I guess we all pretty much used email, text messaging, Google Drive, and email. I already said that, but at the bottom here it says other project stakeholders. So other communication might be this presentation here that is sent out to the class. So that's definitely possible through eCourseWare. Our meeting minutes. So we really didn't meet in person, which was kind of we listed on our lessons learned, which wasn't the best, but we held 2 meetings. Initial meeting to discuss the roles and what we require from everybody, and the mid-project meeting to compile the sections and then edit everything. So like I said earlier, our meeting forms were email, Google Drive, text messaging. For the most part, that was our main 3, especially email. And then the meetings were mainly used to figure out how to archive the deliverables, or excuse me, achieve the deliverables. So we wanted to hit all of our deliverables that we stated earlier in the project. So our final project report. So I'm just going to read the description here. So based on the user's location, this application will provide the user with the closest restaurants based on the filters they choose in order to narrow the amount of restaurants suggested down. So it has a filter. So say you want Mexican food, you just type in or hit the Mexican scroll down bar, and then it filters all the Mexican restaurants near you within a certain radius that you specify, so that you don't get just all these restaurants at once. You can do that as well, but if you want to filter, you have that possibility. Client acceptance. So project meets all of the wants and needs of the stakeholders. Obviously the stakeholders are very important, so you want to meet all their needs and wants. We're going to go over some lessons learned here in a second, and the project schedule, archive, which was Google Drive and Microsoft Outlook. Product acceptance, project closeout. Was this project completed to your satisfaction? I believe it was. Everything didn't go perfect, but it definitely met my satisfaction. Please provide the reasons for your satisfaction with this project. So the reasons for satisfaction is meeting all the project sponsors' project wants and needs in a timely fashion. So we were on schedule and on budget, which was successful for us. Please provide suggestions on how our organization could improve its project delivery capability in the future. So in order to improve project delivery capability in the future, we must be able to communicate better internally as well as follow a strict schedule in order to submit project deliverables on time. So we always could definitely increase our communication capabilities. Communication was not the best, but it still worked out. But that's what we would definitely improve in the future. So some lessons learned. I'm not going to read through all these, but the main one here is, did the project meet scope, time, and cost goals? So the project satisfied the scope, which was to satisfy customers and provide them with a means to easily find restaurants near their location. The project was completed within the allotted time frame. The initial project cost was underestimated, but changes were made to better accommodate the cost goals. So that was the main one there. pretty much the project was successful. I'm not going to read through all these like I said earlier, but describe one example of what went wrong on this project. Yeah, definitely communication with certain project team members was a huge issue. Yes, it was. Some team members took a little while to get back, but like anything else, people are busy, so it's understandable. Well, that pretty much concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much.